Oh boy. Shit, it's getting so real. Hi everyone. I should have looked up who this was for before I started the video. I forgot to do that. This is chapter 13 of Dealing with Dragons, and it's for Megan. Thank you, Megan. Woo, I could have messed that up. This is called In Which Alienora Discovers an Unexpected Use for Soap and Water, and Cimmerian Has Difficulty with a Dragon. Oh boy. Antrel looked past Cimmerian and Alienora as if they were not there and spoke directly to the Stone Prince. I told Father someone was listening. He won't be happy when he finds out I was right, but he'll feel better when I tell him I've taken care of things. He might even let me have the first look in the King's Crystal once Warog gives it to us. Of course. So that's what you're after, Cimmerian said. Antrel favored her with a superior smile. Quite right, Princess Cimmerian. The King's Crystal will show us the whereabouts of every piece of useful and interesting magic in the world. All we'll have to do is go out and pick 'em up. Somehow I don't think it will be that easy, Cimmerian murmured. We knew Turkaz would never give it to us, but Warog will as soon as he's King of the Dragons. He'll have to, or we'll tell everyone how we were the ones who made sure he was the new king. Of course, we can't afford to have anybody around who might make awkward revelations. I doubt that dragons will listen to a couple of hysterical princesses, but he, Antrel pointed at the Stone Prince, will have to go. What are you going to do? Alienora demanded. She was plainly frightened, and Cimmerian could see that her knuckles were white with the force of her grip on the handle of the scrub bucket. Oh, gravel seems appropriate, don't you think? Antrel said. No one will notice a few more rocks around here. Ought I to be taking this person seriously? The Stone Prince said in a rather doubtful tone. You'd better if you don't want to end up as a lot of little pebbles, Alienora answered. She still sounded frightened, but she seemed to be getting a grip on herself. He's a wizard. You wouldn't be talking about gravel if you were the one who had to sweep the floor, Cimmerian said to Antrel. She stepped forward as she spoke, hoping to get between Antrel and the Stone Prince before Antrel noticed what she was doing. She didn't think Antrel was a good enough wizard to do any real harm, but there was no point in taking chances. Stay where you are, Princess Cimmerian, Antrel commanded. I'll deal with you in a moment. Must you be so theatrical? Cimmerian said. Theatrical? You think I'm being theatrical? Antrel said furiously. I love it. She's playing right into his ego. I am simply showing a proper respect for the importance of this moment. You're showing off, Cimmerian said flatly, and you're not doing it very well. He doesn't sound much like a wizard to me, the Stone Prince said. Is he always like this? Oh my god! Enough! Antrel cried and raised the staff. Light shimmered along its length and began to gather at the lower end. Grinning wolfishly, the wizard tilted the staff, aiming it toward the Stone Prince. Stop that, Alienora said. Antrel ignored her. I said stop it, Alienora shouted, and threw her bucket at Antrel's head. Alienora's aim was off. The bucket hit Antrel's shoulder. A bolt of fire shot from the end of his staff and whizzed between Cimmerian and the Stone Prince to strike the far wall with a whumping noise and a shower of sparks. Antrel staggered, slipped in the cascade of soapy water, fell over the bucket, dropping his staff in the process. Cimmerian darted in and kicked Antrel's staff out of his reach. He stared up at her from a mound of soggy silk and soap suds. Oh, that alliteration was beautiful. You can't do this to me, he shrieked. Something in his voice made Cimmerian and her friends look at him more closely. Alienora's eyes went wide, and Cimmerian blinked in surprise. He's collapsing? Alienora said in a stunned voice. He's melting, Cimmerian corrected her. I can't be melting, Antrel cried. I'm a wizard, it's not fair. His head disappeared into a small brown puddle, and his cries stopped. There was a moment of astonished silence. I thought it was witches who melt when you dump water over them, the Stone Prince said at last. It is, usually, Cimmerian said. What on earth did you put in that bucket, Alienora? Just water and soap and a little lemon juice to make it smell nicer, Alienora said. Said Cimmerian, thinking hard. I'll bet there's a simpler way of melting wizards, but we don't have time to figure out right now what it is. How many buckets can you get a hold of in a hurry? Buckets? Alienora said 2, counting this one, and I suppose I could borrow one from Helena. That's 3. And I've got 2 in the kitchen. I expect the iron kettle is big enough. That's 6 altogether, 2 for each of us. You will help, won't you? Cimmerian added, turning to the Stone Prince. Of course, the Prince assured her. Help with what? Stopping the wizards, Cimmerian said. We can't let them make Warog the next king of the dragons by trickery. I don't see how we can stop them, Alienora said. We can't possibly get to the Fort of Whispering Snakes before the trial starts, and even if we could, we don't know where the wizards will be hiding. If we tell the dragons that Warog's trying to cheat, they'll stop the trial, Cimmerian said with more confidence than she felt. That will give us time to find the wizards. And I've got a way to get us to the fort. You go start collecting buckets. I'll meet you at your place after I get the things I'll need from Kazul's. What about... Alienora gestured at with distaste at the wet, messy lump of robes in the center of the puddle. That was all that remained of Aunt Terrell. We'll clean it up when we get back, Cimmerian said. This is more important. Alienora nodded, and the 3 left the banquet room. The Stone Prince decided to accompany Alienora since he was not a fast walker and Cymrine had farther to go. Cymrine left them when they reached the main tunnel and ran back to Kazul's cave. There, she went straight to her room and opened the drawer where she kept odds and ends. In the back left-hand corner, carefully wrapped in a handkerchief, were the 3 black feathers. Oh my god, I hadn't even thought of that! She had taken from beneath the left wing of the bird she had killed in the enchanted forest. I can't believe I didn't even remember that. She shoved the whole packet into her pocket without bothering to unwrap it and went on to the kitchen to collect her buckets. Then she hurried through the tunnels to Warog's cave, where Alienor and the Stone Prince were waiting. When Cymrine arrived, she found the Stone Prince pumping water to fill Alienor's third bucket, while Alienor mixed soap and lemon juice into the second. Cymrine set her pots and pails next to the pump, and went to help Alienora. "Now what?" Alienora said when the buckets were full of cleaning mixture. Cymrine reached into her pocket and dug out the package. Gently, she unfolded the handkerchief and removed one of the feathers, noticing as she did that the package also contained the pebble she had picked up in the caves of Fire and Night. "If we each take 2 buckets, can we still link elbows without spilling too much?" she asked. Alienor and the Stone Prince looked at each other, shrugged, because what are you going to do at this point? And picked up 2 buckets each. Cymrine took the last bucket and the iron pot, holding the handle of the pot with only 3 fingers so that she could keep a grip on the feather with her thumb and forefinger. A series of awkward maneuvers followed as Alienor and the Stone Prince tried to link elbows with the Cymrine without losing their balance or dropping one of their buckets. In the process, Cymrine's skirt got soaked. "It's a good thing I'm not a wizard," Cymrine said. "Ready? Here we go." She twisted her hand toward the edge of the iron pot and let go of the black feather. "I wish we were at the ford of Whispering Snapes." I just need to stop. I can't believe I just said that out loud. Oh my god. I read the word snakes and I was like, and I just had this thought, don't say Snapes, don't say Snapes, and I said it. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm horrible. Oh god. The Ford of Whispering Snapes is the funniest thing in the universe. Okay, I can do this. I can do this, she said as the feather fell and the room dissolved around them. They materialized at the very edge of a river, on a flat, narrow rock that jutted out over the water, and Alienor immediately slipped on the wet stone. If the Stone Prince had not been so solid and heavy, all 3 of them would have fallen into the river. As it was, it took Cymrine and Alienor several seconds to regain their balance. When she was finally sure of her footing, Cymrine breathed a sigh of relief and quickly looked around her. The Ford of Whispering Snakes was crowded. Dragons of all sizes and shades of green lined the banks of the river and filled the spaces beneath the towering trees of the enchanted forest. On the far bank, a pale dragon was poring over a parchment list that Cymrine thought she remembered seeing during one of the many errands she had run the previous night. All the dragons seemed to be talking at once, and none of them noticed Cymrine and her friends. "Hello, dragons!" Cymrine shouted, trying to make herself heard above the noise. "Here now, what's all this?" An olive green dragon on the bank demanded, turning. "Someone's trying to sneak a look at the trials." "Sneaks!" hissed a soft, but nonetheless clearly audible voice from somewhere near Cymrine's feet. Cymrine jumped and looked down, but though she craned her neck all around her, she could not find the second speaker. "Get rid of them before Traum comes back with Colin Stone," another dragon advised. "We aren't trying to sneak in. We don't care about watching the trials," Cymrine said, wishing she dared to look around for Kazul. "We came to warn you about the wizards." "Wizards?" the soft voice echoed. "Wizards?" the olive green dragon said skeptically. "There aren't any wizards here." "No, but they figured out some way of interfering with your choice of the next king," Cymrine said. "They're hiding somewhere. You have to put off the trials with Collinstone until we can find them and stop them. If you'll tell Kazul we're here—" "Put off the trials," the olive green dragon interrupted. "Impossible. They've been underway for half an hour. We can't just stop in the middle." "Who are all you people, anyway?" A flicker of motion caught Cymrine's eye. She looked down just in time to see a thin red snake dart from one clump of weeds to the next. "Sneaks," whispered the soft voice an instant later. "Sneaks and wizards." "I wasn't asking you," the dragon said severely in the general direction of the snake. "Whatever they are, they certainly aren't wizards." "They look like somebody's princesses to me," a blue-green dragon said. "Pity that. It would be so much simpler to eat them and get them out of the way." "Are you sure?" said a third dragon. "That one on the end doesn't look like a princess." "I made you think this wasn't such a good idea," the Stone Prince said. "He may not be a princess, but he doesn't look edible either," the blue-green dragon pointed out. "And those other 2 are definitely princesses. You can't go eating them out of hand." "Princesses," hissed the voice from under the rock. "Oh, princesses," the olive green dragon said. "No wonder they're so full of wild tales." "It's me," Cymrine said desperately. "If you don't believe us, take us to Kazul. She will." "I can't do that," the olive green dragon said, shocked. "Kazul's third in line now after Mazarin and Warog. You can't talk to people who are that close to making their attempt with the stone. It would distract them. Warog? Eleanor said. Warog's next in line? Yeah, he should be starting any minute now, said the olive green dragon. Then comes Mazarin, then Kazul. I don't expect it will take long, though. Nobody's carried the stone for more than a mile or two yet. But I'm Kazul's princess, Simrine said. I don't care who you are, the dragon replied crossly. You can't talk to Kazul until she's done her turn. That will be too late, Simrine cried. You don't understand. Warog and the wizards, I've had enough of your wizards, the olive green dragon said. You're a confounded nuisance, and you ought not to be pushing away in here when you're not wanted. Go away. Simrine, what are we going to do? Eleanor said, as the olive green dragon turned and stalked determinedly away. At Hero School, we were always taught that if you couldn't persuade anyone to help you with something, it meant you were supposed to do it by yourself, the Stone Prince said diffidently, and we are prepared. He lifted one of his buckets slightly. But we don't know where the wizards are. We have to find them before we can stop them, and there isn't time. Stop the wizards, whispered the soft voice. That's the first sensible thing you've said since we got here, Simrine said to the hissing whisper. Can't you just wish to be where the wizards are? The Stone Prince asked Simrine. No, you have to know where you're going or the spell doesn't work, Simrine said. For a moment, all three were glumly silent. Simrine stared at the water, remembering how and where she'd gotten the feathers. Suddenly she raised her head. We may not know where the wizards are, but I'll bet I know someone who can find out. Hold this for a minute. Simrine handed one of her buckets to Eleanor, then dug out the packet of feathers. She pulled the second feather from the packet and grabbed Eleanor's elbow. Hold tight, everybody. I wish we were at Morwen's house, Simrine said, and dropped the feather. The scenery shifted abruptly, and they were standing on Morwen's porch. The house was just as tidy-looking as Simrine remembered, and the porch floor gleamed as if it had just been washed. A black and white cat, startled by their sudden appearance, fell off the porch railing. Cats. 4 others left off washing themselves to stare at Simrine with unwinking green and yellow eyes. She actually impressed the cats. I need to talk to Morwen, Simrine said to the cats. It's an emergency. A lean striped cat rose and oozed through a crack in the door. Simrine unwound herself from Eleanor and the Stone Prince and set her bucket on the porch floor. I hope this works, she muttered to herself, as Eleanor and the Prince placed their buckets beside hers. Oh, how is Morwen going to find them? I'm going to find out because I have to keep reading. It's kind of nice. I get to just read the next chapter. It's magic. This is magic.